Good morning, North Plainfield. I just wanted to create a quick video for you guys, teaching those of you who are not as comfortable with Google Classroom how to set up a Google Classroom for the first time and how to use it properly so that we can access all of our students remotely. So the first thing you want to do is you want to make sure that you log into Google Classroom. You can either go directly by typing in classroom.google.com, or if you click on these 9 dots, if you're used to clicking on the apps, you click here and you go to Google Classroom, and it will take you to this home screen that we're looking at now. So as you can see, I have a lot of Google Classrooms. We're going to set up a new one together, so feel free to follow along. Because this is a video, you can always pause the video if I'm going too quickly, or if you need to do a step as I'm talking about it and then resume the video. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to us or any of the Techies members, and we will help you the best that we can as soon as we can. So the first thing you need to do to create a new class is up here, you click on the plus sign to create or join a new class. So if you look in the top right-hand corner, you'll see I'm circling over the plus sign. This is what we're going to click to create a new class. And you have the option to join a class or create a class. As a teacher, you need to create a class. If you do not see this option, you need to email one of us immediately so that we can make sure that you are listed as a teacher through the system and not as a student. So you click on create a class, and it's going to give you a few things. First, your class name. You can name it whatever you need to name it. I'm just going to name this test. The section, you can put what you like. It's not required. You could put the period number. That's what I usually do. The subject, again, not required, but you can if you want, and the room number. And then we create our class. Give it a second to populate. Getting everything set up for us. There's a lot of new features. Google Classroom gets updated quite frequently as well. And it's going to take you right into your first class. There are options to change the theme of the class. You can click here to select your theme and pick a new background picture, but that's something you can play around with on your own. So the first thing that we are concerned with is making sure that we have students for our class. Since we can't necessarily project the Google Classroom code on the board because we're remote learning, the best thing for you to do is to go into the tab that says People. You'll notice at the top you have your stream, which is kind of like your Facebook wall of things that are going to pop up as you post. The classwork that you assign, which we'll go over together momentarily, People, and then the grades. You can look at each student and see the grades that you've assigned through Google Classroom. Okay? So if we click on People, you'll see you up here as a teacher. If you have a co-teacher, an ICR teacher, or somebody else that needs to be part of your Google Classroom, you can add them here. Otherwise, you're going to add your students by clicking on this button here that says Invite Students. Once you click on this, you can invite the students that you need to invite. All of them are listed in the system. It's a little bit time consuming, but you do have to type each of their names in. You can look at Genesis, look at the roster, type their names in, and it will pop up. Just double check that you're inviting the correct students. Some of our students have similar names. And you click on Invite. And then once you've put all of your students down, you could put all of them in there, that you don't have to do one at a time. All the students that you invited will show up here. Now we can see that I've invited him. It's going to be grayed out, and it's going to have the word invited. Until he goes into Google Classroom and he hits join class, it will appear grayed out. So you'll know which students have accepted your invite and which ones have not. So in the meantime, while we're waiting on our students to join, let's go to classwork, and I'll show you how to add different assignments. So this is where we're going to see, let me move my face a little bit. This is where we're going to see all of the different style things that you can do in Google Classroom. I'll go through each of them with you, and I'll explain them all as well. So the first is topics. If you're really organized and you like to have everything out by section, different units, different things, you can create different topics here. So let's go ahead and create one topic, and we'll call this, create topic, and we will call this Unit 1. Okay. So within Unit 1, let's say I want to post an assignment. I can go to Create, and I have several options here. First, I can choose Assignment. This is just your basic, I'm going to assign a PDF for you to read or a Google Doc for you to fill out kind of assignment. Quiz Assignment, if you click on this, will automatically take you to Google Forms, and it will have you create a Google form, which will then be attached to the assignment. If you already have a Google form that you would like to give your students, you can attach it regularly as you would any other assignment, which we'll go over shortly. Question. If you just want to ask a quick question and they will answer it directly in Google Classroom, it cuts out the middleman. You don't need a document. You don't need anything else. You just want to ask a question and collect responses. You can do that through question. I'll go over how to do one of those in a moment as well. And material. It's not an assignment. It's nothing that has a due date. It's just a material. Maybe the syllabus. You can post it that way. That way it doesn't appear something you need to grade. So let's go in and let's create an assignment. So let's title this Remote Learning Day 1. You can give it instructions. But then most importantly, you can either add an assignment or you can create one. If I click on create, it's going to give me an option, and I can create from scratch if I don't already have something made, a document from Google Docs, a Google slide. I can create a Google Sheet, a drawing, or a Google form. But I already have something, so I'm going to click on add. And as you can see, I've got several options here. I can attach something directly from my Google Drive, which is recommended because they work really nicely together. I can link to a website. I can add a file in. If I'm not working through Google and I have like a Microsoft Word document or a PDF saved on my desktop, I can upload it through File. Or you can click on YouTube. If I were to click on YouTube, it gives me a few options. I can either search for a video directly through by typing it here. Although if you already know the video that you want to send your students, what I recommend you do is navigate to the video, copy and paste the URL, which appears in this box up here. Go to URL and paste it in here. It will appear here after a couple of seconds. You can hit add, and then there you go. The video is attached for your students to be able to watch. But let's add in a quick assignment because I want to show you a few options that you have when doing so. I'll just pick something that's recent that I gave my students. Let's go with this, a template for note-taking. Now, once you've attached your assignment, you have 3 options, and this is really, really important that you do this first. The first option that you have is students can view the file. This will allow them to view the file. All students can view the same file, but they cannot edit it in any way. So if this is some kind of document where they need to answer questions or provide some edits, they will not be able to do so. They can only view it. This might work really well if you have a reading that is only a reading and you don't want them to be able to edit it. The second one is students can edit file. This is really tempting because you want them to be able to edit the file. However, if you click on students can edit file, all students will be able to edit the one file. So unless that you're doing some sort of group collaboration, collect everybody's responses type assignment, I do not recommend using this one. The one that most teachers use most often is this third one. Make a copy for each student. What this is going to do is it's going to make a copy of this document. It's going to put their name in the beginning. So it'll say, Neil Thompson, and then the name of the document. So each student has his or her own document. And then when they make edits, they're only making an edit into their document, nobody else's. They can't see anybody else's document unless they share it. And when they submit it, they are submitting their own assignment. So most teachers use this one, make a copy for each student. Over here, you've got a lot of options as well. If you haven't logged into Google Classroom in over a year, this should look a little bit different. It used to be all down here, but now it's up here. So first, if you're assigning this to multiple classes, the same assignment for multiple Google classes, you can choose the classes that you want to assign it to here. If you're assigning this for specific students, let's say that you need to differentiate your learning and this is only for a handful of your class, you can choose the students in your class here. You see how my student, even though he may or may not have already accepted his thing, has joined my class. Points. I can change the amount of points that this is going to be worth here. I can assign a due date. Once I click on this, I can pick a date. Let's say it's due tomorrow, and I can also pick a time of day that it's due. This might be helpful. If you want it due by the end of the period, you can make it aware that that is so. I don't want any of this, so I'm going to exit out. I accidentally made a mistake. Once I X out the due date and time, you'll see it goes away. I can assign it to the topic that I made. This is part of Unit 1, so let's put it in Unit 1. And then if I already have a rubric that I want students to be able to see, I can attach the rubric here. A relatively new feature is something called Originality Reports. It's kind of like a turnitin.com, but for these assignments. If the students have taken anything from any other website, once they submit this, it will generate a list for you of any time that the student has potentially copied something from another website. It's very, very sensitive. So just because you see that something like a marked passage is there does not necessarily mean that they have been cheating or taking from other websites. It could just be maybe they took something from the textbook that's very, very similar and it sounds similar and it registered somewhere. Or you might have asked them to directly quote from a website and that might be showing that direct quote. So you need to investigate those originally. If you're not comfortable with doing this, I would leave this off. So once I have an assignment, I'm going to post the assignment. Please be aware that once I post this assignment, I cannot edit to make a copy for each student again. I can change it to view file or edit file, but I will not be able to make a copy for each student again. So of all the things, you really need to make sure that you've chosen the correct form of the assignment, whether it's view a file, edit a file, or make a copy for each student. You have to do that the first time you assign it. If you do not, you'll have to delete the assignment and do it again. So now that I've got this done, I'm going to hit assign. I'm going to give it a moment. And it has been assigned. Okay, I can click on the assignment. I can see that nobody so far has turned it in. I only just posted it. It's no surprise. I can view the assignment. When I click on view assignment, I can see the different students I have who it has been assigned to. If I wanted to, I could click on it and I could go into the work that belongs to him, and I'll be able to see whether or not he has done any work on it. Obviously, because I just assigned this, he has not. But from this screen, once clicking on under him, Neil Thompson notes the making of industrial working class, I can click on his notes. They have showed up here. I'll be able to see his activity. I'll be able to see what he's actually written here. And I'll be able to assess him a grade as well. Once I've assessed him a grade, Neil gets 100 for participation. Once I've assessed a grade, I can type it in here. Give it just a second. And then I can return that work to him so that he gets the grade. You click on return. Just wants to double check. Do you want to lead this? Yes, I do. You click return again. And then he's received a grade for that. There is a trickier way to be able to download all of these grades and then upload them to Genesis, but I find the easiest thing to do is to just open up Genesis and just type in the grade manually. But that's a more advanced thing that we could talk about at a different date. So now when I go back to Classroom, if I click on the name of my classroom up here in the top left, it will take me back to the main page. It'll show me on the stream that I have posted a new assignment. I can view it from here, or I can click on classwork and it will show me here under Unit 1 where I created this assignment. Okay. If I ever need to add or delete students to my class, I can do it from people. And now when I go to grades, I will see the class average for each assignment, and each assignment will pop up like a different column, like a really nice Google Sheet, each student here, and the grade that I assigned for them. All right. So that was your basics for Google Classroom. If you guys have any other questions about Google Classroom beyond what I've showed you, please feel free to email or reach out. I just wanted to make sure that everybody at least had the basics down and had the ability to create classes and create assignments. Oh, I'm so sorry. Let me quickly show you how to make a question. So to create a question, you go to Classwork, Create Question, and you have two options for this question. I can either ask a short answer question where the students will just type in a written response, or I can do a multiple choice style question where I can put the choices down here and they can choose one. It does not take them to a different page. They don't have to fill out a Google document. It's all housed within Google Classroom. This might be really good for taking the pulse of something, asking a quick question, and getting some quick responses. So this is another thing that you can do as well. I highly recommend this one for the phase of remote learning where we have to check in with our students. This is a really easy and quick and no frills way of checking in with them, getting their responses and seeing how they're doing. Once you have done short answer, you also have the option over here, this is really important, students can reply to each other and students can edit answer. Please toggle those based on how you want them. If you want them to be able to have a conversation with each other, maybe more like a silent discussion, they can do that, and allowing them to edit their answer. So these are choices that you can make based off of what you would like to do. If you ever decide you don't want to do a question, you want to cancel out the assignment, you just click on the X in the top left-hand corner and it will never have been created. So sorry for the premature ending there, but if there are any more questions at this point, please let me know. We are available during the remote learning working hours, and I hope that this has been a helpful learning experience for everyone. I hope you guys have a wonderful day and stay happy and safe.